Okay, we're here this evening with Miss Renita Wells. Renita, I'm very sorry for what's happened to you. I understand you had a quite difficult time for this incident that happened on a road rage happened on June 20th, and we're just here to document. If you could just give us your assessment as to your story as to what happened that afternoon.
Okay. On June 20th, which was Father's Day, I took my daughter to dinner at Carrabba's, and once we finished dinner, we proceeded to go to Barnes and Noble's bookstore. She needed a book for school. I picked up a couple other books, and once we finished that, we proceeded on to get on the 285 West so I could go pick up my son from my mother's house. Around that time, it was probably maybe like 5:45. We proceeded to get in the lane to travel on to 285 West. We proceeded to go to 285 West, and I turned on my blinker to get into the lane, and as soon as I got in the lane, somebody was laying on their horn. And they continued to lay on their horn until we got ready to pull off onto 285 West, so I did the finger in the mirror. And we proceeded to get onto 285 West, onto the ramp, made that left turn. Once we got onto the ramp, a vehicle came in front of me, pulled over in front of me, and stopped suddenly.
So he pulled around you and pulled in front of you?
Yes, ma'am, and stopped suddenly. So that caused me to put on my brakes pretty fast and kind of pull forward when we put on the brakes. Then we stopped, and we noticed the gentleman was actually getting out of the car. He got out of the car, he came to the window, and I immediately took my finger to try to press the button to let the window go up, and he wouldn't allow me. He actually put his arms inside of the car with his body hanging inside.
So he was trying to stop you from rolling the window up?
He actually stopped me from rolling the window up.
Okay.
With his body, and
he put his whole body in the vehicle?
His whole body was in the vehicle. His arms was over the car like this.
Oh my God.
And he would have stopped me. So he could have damaged the window, but thank God he didn't. And he proceeded to say ugly things. You stupid bitch. You black nigger. You stupid heifer. And I mean, he was just going on and on saying ugly things. And then next thing I know, he turned around. I thought he was leaving, but he turned around and took his fist and punched me in the lip. So after that, I was kind of startled because I couldn't. I'm sitting there in the seat. He's walking back to the car. I'm startled because I'm like, he startled me. So I proceeded to sit in my seat because I couldn't believe this man had hit me in my mouth. I was getting ready to get out the car, but my daughter's like, no, Mommy, no, we don't know what he has. No, Mommy, don't get out the car.
That was pretty smart for her to do that,
So I went ahead and I didn't go to his car because he had actually started to lock himself in with his family. His daughter was in the car with him as well, and his wife.
So he had his family in the car?
Yes, he had his family in the car. So I proceeded to go behind me so someone could see that he had actually hit me in the lip, because my phone, I was trying to get 911 on my cell phone, but I could not. My daughter was trying, I guess she was nervous, so we were never able to get 911 on the phone. The whole time he kept telling me he was going to call the police on me.
On you? For what?
Yes, he was going to call the police on me. So once I went on and talked to the gentleman behind me. They said that they had already called the police and they saw everything. They saw everything, and the gentleman behind me was noticing that the vehicle was trying to pull away. He was actually trying to leave the scene. So what he did is he took his SUV truck and pulled across the whole exiting ramp so that he could not leave the scene. At that point, I actually got someone to give me a paper towel because my lip had started to actually bleed. And the young lady was saying, you need to get someone that can take a picture because your lip is like starting to swell. So I did do that. And at that point, the police came and asked me what happened, because they had gotten several phone calls on, an issue on 285 West exit ramp. The police was saying that someone had called and said that a gentleman had come to the car and hit me in the mouth. The police said a gentleman had come to my car and hit me in my mouth, and he wanted me to, let him know if that was actually what happened, and I told him yes, it was. Then he went and asked a couple of the witnesses that were standing out on the road, and they said that they attested to the actual same thing. And then he went and asked his wife what happened, and
Did the police ask?
yes, the
This
police
okay.
asked the wife, and he had told the police that he didn't hit me in the mouth. I hit my lip on the steering wheel when I stopped. His wife said no, he went up to the car and he hit her in the mouth because we thought she had thrown something at our vehicle.
Mm.
And at that particular time, the police took my information, took my daughter's information down, he took the witnesses' information down, and he said that the police department was gonna file a warrant on the assailant.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, why would the police department file a warrant? I thought the victim had to actually file the warrant. And he stated that because of the fact that there was a child involved, that the police department had to file a warrant out.
Okay, and how old was your daughter?
My daughter is 10 years old,
Okay.
and she was actually in the vehicle at the time of the incident. And once the police report was taken, the ambulance came, and I did not get in the ambulance because they told me if I did, they would have to tow my vehicle. That would be another expense, so I did deny the need for it.
So you got attention there, but you didn't go to the hospital?
Yes, they looked at my lip to see if it needed stitches, and they told me I could go to the hospital if I chose to.
Okay, but there's some type of incident report that time to say that the ambulance was actually there. So.
Yes, it's a refusal of service form that I filled out.
Okay.
And I actually went to the hospital, did go to the hospital because my lip had started to swell, and I was in severe pain and just, baby, I guess traumatically distressed because I just was still in shock that this man did this to me in sight of his family, in the sight of my daughter.
Your daughter. And how's your
On
daughter?
Father's Day. My daughter is 10 years old.
And how did this affect her?
Well, she now sleeps in my bed.
Yeah.
So she's in fear that he may come to get us. I guess I don't know where her thought process is, but she's scared. And I am terrified because I kind of listened to some people talk today, and they was talking about if he wanted to, he could get your information and he could find you because internet access is the way of the world.
Yeah.
So that's my story. That's my story, and I'm hoping someone out there will hear it and get this information out because this was a traumatic situation, and I don't want this ever to happen to another person.
And it's very brave of you to do that, especially under these circumstances. And there's been a lot of this a rash of road rage and stuff like that going wrong, where people have actually lost their lives. So it's very brave of you to come forth to do this. Now, when you went to the hospital, Ms. Wells, did they treat you at the hospital, or did they? Because how did they give you some money, some medication or something like that?
They gave me medication. Well, they gave me a prescription for medication, but because I have 2 kids, I wasn't able to take something that would cause them to be drowsy. So I did take some Advil for pain, and they gave me Dramamine.
Yes.
And that would be 2.